Darling, do you still care for me? Oh, darling, do you still care for me? Care for me? Care for me? Oh, darling, I have so many things I want.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Colby J. Ryan Show. We got a show for you today. We really do. We got some stuff we got to get to. So, with all that being said, yesterday we touched on a topic that I had not done enough research. I had just seen pop up a lot, and it's a really interesting story. So I'd like to start there today with the Twin Idaho Falls incident. So, I feel like Twin Falls, Idaho, my bad. Twin Falls, Idaho incident at the In-N-Out. I think it's a pretty crazy story of someone who has enough bravery to come in and interfere with a situation that they see is happening. Not many people, even if they were armed, would have the balls of steel to step in and be willing to help. And so I really want to get into it today. So, kind of the disclaimer that I want to make though is that this is still an active investigation. This just happened, and we're talking about it from the standpoint of what these kind of situations are becoming so normal. And it's really unfortunate because, again, people are losing their life by going to go get food. It makes you feel, at least for me personally, it makes me feel like you're not as safe. You're not safe to go places. And I have my kids, and that's always been my number one thought is, are my kids safe to go to Walmart? Or is somebody going to come in there and immediately, do something? Now, again, I do want to start with the controversial part of this. And it's just my personal opinion. I know that the argument for guns is a very strong thing for people, and everybody has very strong feelings about this. The argument is if there wasn't guns, people couldn't walk in and do that. But at the same time, if someone else did do that and had an illegal gun and we were not allowed to carry at all, this situation would be worse. So what else more would you do? Right? Like, I think it's okay to acknowledge that people, if they wanted to have guns, even if they were completely illegal, would find ways to have them and still do these things because they don't care. I think it is important for us to be able to carry. And I think and these are the situations why. So we're going to get into it. Number one thing is there's a lot of opinions on this situation. People are very opinionated about everything, which I think is great. But again, when you watch what's happening, one person being brave, carrying a gun can save lives. And this is what Jordan Salinas did. And so I just want to play this video for you. It's nothing graphic. We don't play anything graphic here, but I want you guys to kind of get a feel for what happened. So to kind of give you a little bit of a background, the shooting was happening on Saturday, August 1st, and it was at In-N-Out Burger. So imagine you just go to drive through, get some food, and there's an active shooter. Police began receiving reports about gunfire at about 2:29. And then authorities identified a suspect as 24-year-old Chad Williams, 24 years old, going out there and starting to shoot people. We're going to get into that part specifically after this. They believe that he acted alone, so they believe that there was no other person there. And there was 3 victims killed. 3 people died that day. And then 7 additional people were injured. Okay, so that's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. I love this, Keely. I'm going to put this up on the screen for everybody. The shooter was later found dead when the authorities described it as a self-inflicted gunshot wound, which we all know what that means. The reported death toll thereafter was 3 victims, the shooter, and 4 deaths in total, including the shooter. So I want to get into the victims and the injured people as well, and for what they have said and what this has been like. But again, this is Jordan pulling up, going and being a hero. And no matter whether he took the shooter down or not, he created a diversion. There was another off-duty officer who came in and also intervened. But this is one of the reasons why the shooter actually fled, because there was some kind of resistance. If not, who knows how much more could have happened. Here's the video. know what? I always say this too. I don't think we give the police enough credit. We do not give the police enough credit. That's just my personal opinion. But imagine again, you go out to eat, and one of the first things that you do is pull out your own gun to try to save a bunch of people's lives, and knowing that you are in harm's way. So I think this is interesting. Actually, Tess sent me a video of a guy discussing the case. I looked it up, and it actually gave me the YouTube name of Jordan, and he's the one who pulled out his gun. So I want to actually show you one of the videos on there too, just to give you some context, and maybe you guys can go give him a follow, because I think it's pretty cool that someone is. Again, we're gonna have to get into the gun thing. We just are. Let's get into it after this thing. But this is one of his videos. So this is one of his videos. His name is Poverty Operator. He's got a bunch of stuff on here. You can go check him out on YouTube. But he did put out a post that I saw that Tess, again, the guy who I watched his video, I think he's very informative. I always like to give people their credit because it helps me kind of connect everything. But this is his YouTube channel. The point being, I know people have really strong opinions about guns. I grew up in Texas where I had always been scared of guns personally. I did not understand them. And I thought that basically, not that they're bad, but that was like the thought, like they're scary things to have. The older and older I've gotten, though, the more I've listened to other people's situations. Here's how I've always now view I didn't always feel this way. I mean, I view guns differently now because of situations like this. I have 3 little kids. And if I'm in a situation in where I am unarmed and someone armed does approach or comes up, or we're in a situation, there's nothing I can do besides try to be a hero and maybe physically tackle the person, but they have a gun. And they are obviously in a position mentally where they are not going to reason with you, and they are willing to take people's lives. So I have done so much case study on this. I've actually watched about 50 probably different body cam videos where a whole case was laid out, where somebody who is a shooter goes out and actually pre-plans all of this stuff, pre-plans it all. And this is the problem, is we're going to get into this today on what I think is happening and why the younger generation of mostly men are coming out and becoming these mass shooters. I don't understand how we get here, but we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So, but I think this is a great point. This was on August 1st. So what, a few days ago? Why am I not wearing my watch? It's the 3rd. It happened 2 days ago, and it's been everywhere. I've seen tons of little clips from it. Usually just like somebody filming. The one I saw first. Yeah. Thank you, Tess. This is a great link to have. You guys check out the chat. That video helped me connect a few more dots that I didn't have. I didn't know he had a YouTube channel. I didn't know he put out a statement. And I was mostly just stumbling on clips that people had posted online. He actually made a statement himself. And I thought it was very thoughtful. And again, the moment you decided to come in and step into that situation and help other people is the moment you are a hero. A hero definition is being self-sacrificial. And so he put himself in the literal line of fire with his own life to try to stop someone who was just shooting people. Now, I don't want to show the video that I watched because it's just graphic, but to explain to you, the first sighting that I had of this a few days ago was there was a Tesla charging station. I think I mentioned this yesterday's show, but they were sitting there and the shooter came up, it looked like with an AR or some kind of rifle, and unloaded into a Tesla, into the driver's side. Again, what causes someone to do that? What is going on? And a lot of times you find out that they've been thinking and pre-planning this. And I want to get into a case that I think might roll into this a little bit more. So a while ago, I was watching a video about a young man, very young man, who had a very successful father in film. And he was very disturbed. and he wrote tons and tons of journal entries about why he feels that the world is unfair. And he wrote out just violence. He was very angry. He was, girls don't want me. And I'm just going to tell you what it was, because again, it's just the reality. I know YouTube doesn't like this stuff, but I can't not share this. But he was like, girls don't want to be with me. They don't want to have sex with me. They won't kiss me. They won't date me. I love women. So he felt rejected. I have no friends. I'm very lonely. He went through all these things, but again, he's writing out his feelings, and then he started to plan out what he was going to do, and he hated everyone around him, and he actually vlogged a lot of this. So what I'll do later is I'll drop a comment with a pinned comment in the show description, so you guys can actually go watch the case if you're interested. But he actually vlogged a lot of what he was thinking in the time, and he actually ended up doing this at his own university. And again, we're just talking about someone randomly deciding that people deserve to pay for their pain. It is the world's fault that these young men are in pain. This is a mental health crisis. This is what I mean when I talk about mental health on this channel all the time. It is so unbelievable that we are at a point where someone is so hurting inside that they decide to, at random, selectively kill another person. It literally has nothing to do with revenge or some kind of motive. In these scenarios, if you are at the wrong place at the wrong time, which any of us could be, that's the reality of this situation as well. Situational awareness is very important. It's not like you can do anything, but you have to be aware of your surroundings at all times. That is just my personal thing. And I'll get into that in just a minute. But mental health is causing this. So he was writing out his reasons why he's going to do it. He was filming vlogs, and again, he has pretty much everything. His dad was paying for, he had a really nice car. He should have, by societal standards, been very well known, but his parents didn't. He had a neglectful childhood with his father as well. And I think he had a stepmother who he also had a lot of issues with, and a sister. And so, yeah, I just feel like it's very, very wild that this is a mental health. This all starts with your mental health. And then someone goes out and literally takes someone else's life who's literally in line to get food. We have to talk more about mental health for this exact reason. It's not ever okay. I'm not on the side of the shooter by any means, and I don't ever give them a pass because they're having mental health issues. But again, if it doesn't become a societal norm to talk about the fact that this is what happens when people neglect their mental health or are unstable, this is the type of things that people are going out and doing. And a lot of times they are confused young men who are doing these things. And look at all the shootings that happen a lot more often. They are young men. It's usually not women. It's usually not young women. It's young men who are in a mental torture. And it's just the reality of where we live today. So I think what I want to get into now is the isolation part of what I think we're going through now. Let's talk about that. If you want to go, let's go into that subject, and then we'll go into our next segment. So look, I've grown up again, and I think we need to do, from my personal opinion, so I hope you understand, this is my opinion. But I grew up, again, not liking guns at all. But I grew up also playing with toys like lightsabers, fake guns, all those kinds of things. I had airsoft guns when I was little and paintball, and we'd go play games and do those kinds of things. Here's the reality, though. No matter what you think about guns, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, if you took them all away, people would just illegally get them like they are now. So you would just be unarming people. In America, specifically, we wrote in the Constitution to have the right to bear arms. What that means is that no one can come in and dictatively tell you, no one can have guns. That is just, honestly, it's as crazy as this is going to sound. Yes, it's more available to go get a gun, but there's a process to it. You can't just go buy one at the store. You have to have a no record. You have to give your driver's license. You have to have an actual home address attached to it. You have to register your gun. And so again, they do put in steps to it, where at least it's not something you can just walk into a store and buy. But at the end of the day, if we're teaching our kids and we're teaching these generations that guns are not toys, and that what they are is a very serious thing, and that they should only be used in a self-defense situation where your life or others' lives are at stake, That should be the point. So it's not really the gun's fault. It's the education around the guns themselves. And that is the issue that I have with just, I understand that the violence is created by guns, but it's the person. The person back in the day, they had swords, they had knives, they had other weapons. And so the point is, it's not really just the weapons in them of themselves. It's the fact that we are at a point where the education about the stuff is out of control. Now, again, should kids be able to play with fake guns? Because it teaches them the wrong thing. It's just like the same concept of video games. Are video games creating these violent tendencies in children? There's definitely studies on it. There's definitely studies on it. My point being, this is why the education system in our country, I'm not blaming teachers or the school system. I'm just saying there should be something specifically tailored to our children, because you can't just swipe what adults do and separate adults from children. As much as I want to protect children and do agree that they should not ever be exposed to adult themes and they should never have to deal with these things, and none of us should really have to deal with gun violence or anything of that nature. But the reality is, it's the education that needs to be talked more about, and it needs to be understood. And do I have an exact solution? No, I don't. I don't know. I mean, I truly believe that everyone should have to do gun safety training if you own a gun, and you should know exactly what it's for, how to clean it, and then how to take care of it, and should be very responsible with it. But at the end of the day, let's be honest, there's always going to be crooked people who make bad decisions and decide to not listen to the rules. So it doesn't matter what you do with it. And I'm just being real with you, because people who are violent are going to find a way, whether it's their fists, inanimate objects, a car. You keep going down the line. People who want to incite violence and hurt others are going to do it regardless of the tool. So I just want to put that out there as far as that goes with the conversation that goes into what's going on. Now, the mental health side is where I feel like it's weird, a deteriorated generation. Okay. And I think this is a good point. Emily's making another good point. Video games, media, movies, all this stuff, it is exposing the children and people to what's the thing? What's it called? There's a word that I want to use. So let me give me 1 second to think of the word that it is. It's a false reality. And again, it does put something into your head that would never happen. You're never going to respawn. Okay. No matter what a Chad Daybell says, you don't come back. You don't just get shot and survive. Every movie has someone get, really hurt. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. Watching the first movie, Extraction. You know what? I don't want to spoil it for you, but let's just say that there's something that happens in that movie that's so unrealistically to survive that it actually ruined it for me, because I was like, okay, like, come on. Like that's it is. But again, we have to understand that education has to come out. We have to be able to explain to everyone that this is a movie. This is a video game. This is not real life. And again, how do you do that? That comes down to parents. It becomes the parents' jobs to do the best they can. But again, we have to go back to, people are going to make the decisions that they want to make in life. That is just the reality of it all. And I just want to say real quick, before we move on past that point, go straight into our next segment. We have to understand that people's lives were changed from this incident. They did nothing wrong. And I'm not saying that anybody who's ever been killed has done something wrong to deserve it all, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they went to go get food or charge their car and just go out in public. This is on the other side part. And I just want to say that there's people who lost their loved one. And I can't imagine hearing that, because I have received news like that, but I can't imagine hearing that they, hey, they were going to get food. They were in the line and somebody just took them. It happened in an instant. This was a 3-minute affair, start to finish. Can you imagine that 3 minutes can change your entire life? Wow. That's unbelievable, Angie. I'm talking about it because it goes so deep into what's happening in general. Like 20-year-olds down to teenagers are doing these things. There's been some cases where even I watched the young teacher, she was in her class and a young boy came in and did the same thing, brought a gun to school. I mean, It's insane. It's absolutely insane. I don't understand how we're getting here. I don't, because again, when you go to kids, their brains are so undeveloped. It really isn't their fault. Like a little child does no idea, cannot weigh the consequences of their actions by any means. So they're being exposed to things that they shouldn't be. And I think the real solution really is to just try to figure out the way to really enforce our mental health the best we can in a healthy way, and give our kids, teach our kids to talk to us, and hope for that's the kind of communication you can create with someone. Sandra says we are too desensitized from all the violence. I agree with you. And I think again, it is in our media everywhere. But I've played these games my whole life. I'm playing Skyrim over on our other channel. You could classify that as violent, but at the end of the day, it doesn't mean that it gives me violent thought or like makes me think that that stuff's okay. I'm able to separate the difference between reality and fiction. But again, we're at this point where I'll give you a perfect example. A Chad and a Lori and these people who do this, I really don't think many of them have like a real grounded version of reality. I think there is a disconnect in their mental health where they are kind of in this place, like they don't really understand the gravity of the situation fully. I'm not saying that they don't know what they're doing. There's a difference between those two things, but they don't fully grasp that it's going to change your life, people's lives. And at the time, a lot of people, unfortunately, for their mental health, are so hurt that they actually want somebody to take them out, or they want a reason to take themselves out. So they actually put themselves in a position where they will get shot by the police. This happens very often. It's very sad because someone will create a violent situation, kill or hurt other people just so they can get shot by the police rather than taking their own life, or take their own life because they forced the situation. This is a mental health crisis. It's a very deep mental health crisis. And again, what some people's answer would be take all guns away. You can't do that. You just can't, because then you don't have the right to defend yourself either. And somebody's going to illegally attain a gun, and now it can do whatever they want to you, and you have no defense against that. I'm sorry. I do not believe in that at all. I think that is the wrong answer. And again, I don't think that people make the best decisions, but mental health, that's the only solution. That's the only solution. I think there should be way more education in the school systems or something of that nature where people come in and talk about these topics all the time. If I were to run a school district, I would have mental health experts, therapy offices consistently coming to the schools and can constantly encouraging students to enroll themselves in therapy outside of it somehow, some way. Obviously, I know there's a financial point there. And then same thing with like gun safety and understanding and just things of that nature. I think cops and those types of people coming to schools and explaining things gives kids real context, because I think you don't know what you don't know. And these are obviously troubled people. So that's how I would handle the situation the best that I could. But again, I'm not in that position, so it's just theoretical. I will say that going in from a parent standpoint is I've always tried to level with my children at their ages. So I don't overexpose my kids to things because they just are too young. You can't tell a 7-year-old, you can't like say too much to them because their brains can't comprehend it all. So I try to be a protective but understand where they're at and level with my children at their ages. But as my kids grow up, I want them to understand gun safety. I want them to not think of them as this scary thing that's just going to go off on its own and start doing these crazy things. I know there has been incidents where some guns actually do have hairline trigger or something happens. But again, you know what I'm saying? You can't prepare everybody for every situation. You just do the best you can with what you have. The conversation is the number one thing. And it's just like exposing our kids to certain aspects when they're not ready to have these conversations. You have to understand that they might get exposed at school. So I would rather, as a parent, within a certain time frame, start to discuss certain themes that they might be exposed to at school, because I know I got exposed to things at school as well that I wasn't necessarily ready for. And I think it's just really hard to process that. But again, I will say my biggest thing with this is that our youth is really at a point where they're getting more information and more access to things that they shouldn't be. That's my honest opinion. Like I told you, even back in 2019 or 2018, Tylee wasn't even 16 yet, and she was watching shows that I thought were really inappropriate for her age because I was older, and I thought, I don't think you should be watching this stuff. It's not good for your mental health. It's too adult. You don't really know. You don't really understand like the themes, and it's just too graphic. It's even graphic for me. And so I just felt like she should have not been able to watch those shows. And Lori tried to pin that on me, saying I said she was suicidal. She wasn't. She was not. I said I don't want her to feel the heaviness of these shows. And again, I do think that that's on Hollywood. That's on the people, but we're the parents, we're the protectors and the guardians. So it actually really does come down to our job. Anybody's going to put out what they want. There's horrible things on the internet and there's amazing things on the internet. It's our only thing we can do is try to navigate, but it is harder, I think, ever than for our generation, for like my kids and just even some of the younger teenagers. They're being exposed to social media themes, movies, violence, and in general that I don't think, how does your brain even comprehend all of this? We're just in a new type of way. And we covered a little bit about the gang that is running online that was a Roblox gang, and I always forget the name. One of you guys even saved me last time in our last discussion of it, but they were recruiting on Roblox and getting people to commit the deed live. One of the young men actually he actually poured gasoline on himself and lit and did that and passed away while the gang of people watched him. And that's where we're at. Like we're talking about a kid who's playing a video game, who wants to have friends, who wants to socialize, being literally like tactically attacked. And I want to say that too about this mental health thing. I don't think people are realizing how tactical a lot of this evil is. They're just as tactical as the military is in their tactics and their thoughts. They think about evil. They think about it. They pre-plan how they can do things, and they're led by evil. Those types of people can only be helped if they want to, but at the end of the day, a lot of the times they are the ones that do the atrocious things. And so again, yeah, exactly. I want to bring this up real quick. I know we're supposed to take these things at later. I know we're supposed to talk about this at the end, but it's a new thing. It's a new wave of mental health. I feel like mental health really became a worldwide thing in 2020 because everybody was going through COVID, just that alone. And it was just stressing everybody in the world out because we were all going through the one thing. Like that's how many times has there ever been a global event like that where everybody was going through like the same exact type of thing, and it affected everybody the same, as far as like this isolation. And I think the social media really took a big turn. And then there's so many social issues and there were so many things because all we had was what we were being given, which I think is, again, where danger can happen too, because again, there's a very controlled stream when you're at that point because everybody is trying to figure out what's going on. And now you're not even outside. You're not even experiencing anything. No one's really seeing things. And so it was a weird time, right? But it became a really big deal because people realized when you had to stop your work, you had to stop your life the way you do it. You're not going out. You're not living your life the way you were. All of a sudden, you're stuck with your thoughts. And a lot of people lost it, and a lot of people did really good with it. Some people found religion and God. It's crazy. It's crazy what that time did, but it produced it's like almost like that was such a drawn line in the sand to change the course of where we are today within the 2020s. It completely changed the direction of people's lives. And again, we need to keep bringing it up. It's not something that just passes over. You know what I mean? It's not something that we can come in and say, oh, well, mental health. Well, what does that even mean? What is mental health? Like let's define it the best that I possibly could define mental health. Mental health is so important because we are at a point where, like I said, we are not taking care of ourselves at all. And we're running like machines, but even in machines, they shut down They need somebody to come in and help and work on them and put new pieces in. We run the same way. We run on this system, which is our body. So we have this physical body doing all these things, but we have to acknowledge the emotional side of ourselves. There is a huge part of us that functions based off of how we feel that day. If you feel sick, you usually don't feel good. Like you're not making the best decisions. If you're in a really bad place, you're depressed, which a lot of people suffer from some type of depression. There's tons and tons of pressures that are every day. Provide, protect, show up at work, make money, eat, survive. You don't just have survival, you have to create your survival financially. And now it's really expensive to survive. It's not even, we're at a point where it's like super hard to just survive at basic levels. So all of those things really add into it. And that's just like the normal everybody dealing with. Then you add in the next level of things, which come from your traumas, things that happen to you on a regular basis. And we're just like, it's almost like if you were to get sick and just never go to the doctor and just try to keep letting your body heal itself. Well, the problem is it really does affect you more than maybe people think it does. You know, we also have a digital life and then a real life. And the problem is a lot of people are separate. It's two separate worlds, two separate lives. And it's like people who they are online and people who they are in real life. And I think I will say one thing I give myself some credit for in life is that this is who I am always, right? Like and I'm not trying to sound any type of way, but I just want you to understand what I mean is that you can't exist online as yourself, because that's when people actually you can't heal if you're trying to play a part. Let's just put it that way. So if we were to meet or have a conversation or anything, this is how it would be. Obviously in our show, it's a little more organized and there's topics, but I'm still the same person. I don't have a persona that goes into doing YouTube. And I think that that's where we've really disconnected those. A lot of people really are playing almost like a part in their own life because they become an influencer and all these people want to watch you and they want to give you brand deals and things of that nature. And you basically are needing to produce on a level like an actor or something like that. I mean, it's almost like it really separates reality. So I think social media, again, like everything, there's a good and a bad. It has to go down to leveling out. And I think the best way to level out and the best way to do that is to really acknowledge your mental health and play up to what you need to every day for your actual mental health. Meaning, go and take care of your physical body, get your sleep, drink your water, eat food, start to learn how to love yourself, deal with your traumas. These things matter. These things really matter. And we're just walking on and keep going. I know I'm really bad at this. I have to continuously write things down and tell myself to slow the F down and take care of myself, because I'll just keep running like a machine and just be like, oh, okay, good. Next thing, next thing, next thing. I think it's just human nature to do that. I really do think that. But I think that what we can do to help our society is break the stigma of not getting together anymore. This is why I emphasize community here. I emphasize it because we have lost our connection, right? During COVID, we lost church. Everything went online. We've lost that like togetherness. Like we are meant to be community people. We are all meant to be together. So I try to create that online because again, we're all over the world here listening to this show and doing the show. We're all over the world. We're not in the same places where we could get together. And so we need some kind of community. And if online is going to take over, then we'll do it online. We'll do the best we can with it. But I think it's fewer spaces like this now really exist because we broke in 2020, we broke the normal and everything kind of went to digital. And people really got more depressed than I think they're willing to admit because we no longer had connection. We couldn't see loved ones. We didn't know what we were dealing with. Everybody had different opinions about what the virus was at the time. Nobody knew what to do. And you were literally in your house 24/7 and unable to go anywhere. And if you do go somewhere, there's all these rules to walk in and stay away from me and don't touch me and this and that. Like, again, that it doesn't, whether that happened at the level it did or not, it doesn't matter what you think about the actual virus. It created a mental distance from human beings. It was like, don't come near me, which is not normal because we are human and we need connection. So that's what I'm trying to get to, is whether, no matter what your opinion is on the virus itself, it created human distance and mental distance. So it's really important to acknowledge what happened. And it really did change a lot of things. Remember, there's people who graduated online from high school. That would really suck. That would really feel like a robbery. Like, it changed people's experiences in life. I remember watching the NBA bubble, and I kept thinking to myself, they had the court, and they had all of the players um playing against a fake crowd. I remember people had like virtual seats, so they were all watching this thing. And I remember the Lakers won in the bubble in Florida, and I remember thinking, it just felt so weird to watch like an NBA team who has a stadium chocked full of 20,000 people win a championship and have absolutely nobody there. And then like the next day they're just like out eating, waiting to go home. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, you have to realize how different that time was, and it did change. Now, why I'm hitting so hard on that time is because I think that time actually really came to play here. What I think happened is we became isolated more than ever. And then we got used to it because it was a long time. It wasn't just this little 2-month period. It was a while before people could really, really come into societal norms. Again, if you're just getting out of high school and that's your first exposure, and you go to work, and then 2 months later you're home, and now you're a home worker, you don't get a lot of out. So let's just put it in a scenario. When I worked online myself, we had a apartment gym. So I would walk from my house to the apartment gym. I'd work out, and I'd come home, I'd work, and then I would be exhausted, and it'd be time to catch up on, normal life outside of work. And again, it really was more isolating than I think it's easy to put into context, because at that time you're getting used to that routine. But I really didn't interact with people like at all. And we were all trying to stay away from each other and things like that. And for me personally, I was going through the case. I was like, they were trying to find the kids. It was effing nuts. It was such a hard time because COVID made you stop having anything you could go do normal. So it did feel like the end of the world for so many different reasons for me. And it messed me up mentally. But I will say I used the time to change over, and I actually found God myself. Like, I went searching for God. I found my conviction. I found what I believed. I read my Bible by myself for the first time. And so I found my own connection with God, which was a beautiful thing. I don't really think I could have had that outside of that circumstance, but it is about what people do with it. But some people really don't know how to handle their emotions and feelings, and that's okay. That doesn't mean that they're any lesser. It just means you have to learn how to do it. But isolation in and of itself is really, really important. We need connection. So I hope you guys understand this community does mean everything to me. And I hope it gives you an insight of how other humans do feel the same way you feel. And I think that's the biggest point. It's like, we're not talking about it. We're not talking about it. We're not talking about that people are suffering. And I think there's a fear of judgment. I think there's a fear of judgment for sure. Because we all do tend to judge each other just naturally. And what do you do with that? You fear judgment, because how can you have a conversation and get to that point? I had my gun for 31 years and never once did jump out of my bedside safe to shoot someone. Guns don't kill, people do. Being able to carry is one of the reasons I moved to Idaho. Exactly. Let's be honest with it. It's not the thing that's happening, it's the people behind it. And if you get rid of guns, people will use a stick or a rock. Like, people are going to do it. And unfortunately, it's horrible. It's a horrible reality to live in. But I do want to take a minute and say this. And I understand people have so many opinions about the police. And I'm not saying every police officer is a good person. We all know that. But don't categorize, just like people who do shoot people, don't put everybody who owns a gun as a horrible human being. Okay? Like, let's stop doing that. That's called black and white thinking. And what we're doing is we're actually taking one incident and we're sitting here saying this thing is this horrible. This is everybody. Every cop is bad. Every person who owns a gun is horrible. Every person who believes a different political thing is horrible. What are we doing? Stop categorizing everybody in a black and white. People do horrible things, and it doesn't matter what the tool is. It's their mental health. That's the problem. That's the issue I have, is that that's the part that's not being recognized enough. That's the problem I have. It frustrates me. And then we have a very judgmental culture now, very judgmental culture. So that does play a part in it, because people don't want to open up. Why would you want to open up just to be criticized? It takes a lot to build the ability to handle criticism. Like, it took me years of doing YouTube to be able to understand my self-worth, and no matter what someone says that's negative, to even listen to the negativity. Is there truth inside of that negativity? Is this a true criticism of Colby? Can I do better? Can I, like, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. Yesterday, I will be honest with you, I researched the Brian Koberger thing, but I did not follow his case. I haven't watched all of the stuff about him, and so my understanding of him was from my research. But I understand that people were upset yesterday by saying you should do more research, and I am the person, I've told you from media standpoint, that if you get something wrong, I will walk that back and say I did not get enough of this done, or something of that nature, because I want people to understand that I am at a point in my life where it doesn't matter if I'm wrong or not. Like, I'm okay with walking that back. But I did do research on Brian Koberger before I made the video, and my opinion was my opinion. And that's what I always say, is that there obviously is other pieces. Like, I did not watch him plead guilty. I watched the victim impact statements. But again, I'll do more research, and we can always circle back and have another conversation about it. But this specific thing is very upsetting to watch. And I don't know why everything we're talking about is in Idaho. When I saw that it was in Idaho, I don't know why that really upset me. It just did. To know that this guy just unloaded on people in Idaho. I'm like, what is going on specifically in Idaho? Again, though, these are three isolated things. It just happens to be this week that this stuff is happening. But I just want to take a second also, again, like I was before, to kind of finish that thought. It's just the sentiment to the families. They lost people over an act of unprecedented violence, and it was unnecessary, and it didn't have to happen. Our next step is to do just mental health check-ins. I think we really underestimate how important it is to check on each other. Whether you think you've known someone your whole life or not, it's really important to send that text. I did start, if you guys are members of the community, we do have a mental health check-in tab specifically in our Discord for you guys to feel that at least you have a place to vent. And I've seen some amazing friendships form as our members and in our community, being able to come to places and do that part and say, hey, I am just struggling. And I think I'm trying to make sure we keep continually not judge and create the best we can, because we need boundaries. But judgment in and of itself can cause people to say, I can't open up because all you're going to do is tell me I'm an idiot, or you shouldn't feel that way, or whatever the case is. Like, it's a thin line. It's hard. It's a very hard thing to do. But I think we need to start being willing to talk to someone, especially if we feel like we're in a bad place. And I know the people who are struggling feel that they know they're not right, but I just think they don't want to go take care of that. And that's really, really crazy. We are now in our community corner section of our channel. Of our show. This channel has always been about a community. And so I want you guys to know I'm going to bring this segment in for probably our Mondays and have these conversations with you, where you get to send in either your story, your opinions, a good news for you, or whatever the case is, to the email. So mods, if one of you could type in the email in the chat, it is askcolbyj@gmail.com. That is very important, that you guys can send in your own submissions. And at this time, during our shows on Mondays, we will read those things. And I want it to be whatever good news you have, whatever you're going through. Obviously, it has to be appropriate, and I will read them beforehand, so that way we can share them appropriately with the community. So I just hope that you guys have that boundary. But as of right now, I would like to read some of your guys' chats, hear what you're thinking about today's show. And you can also let me know how you like the show, because I really enjoy these types of things. It gives us so much variety. And look at you guys. I appreciate you. It is askcolbyj@gmail.com. Just send in your stories. We were doing Share Your Story Saturdays, and I love that. But we will get back to being able to share your stories as well. and some of them just need to be pre-censored. So we'll figure that out. But here's where we're at with our community. Not only will we be doing every other Wednesday, having a community chosen thing, which you guys still need to let me know what you want me to react to. You guys chose in the poll. I'll share it with you. You chose in the poll to do reactions. I know you guys like that. I do too. I'll be honest. It might be one of my favorite things that we do on the channel because it gives us the chance to just really, I don't know, just kind of do whatever we want. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you and replace it with this. Hello there, honey. Where'd it go? Okay. There it is. Okay. So this is the poll that we did. It took a landslide, has almost 500 votes, and you guys chose reactions for this Wednesday. So I want us to come up with what you want to react to. Let's read the comments here. So your reactions and how you've withstood all this literally thrown at you is individually, collectively, you're amazing. I really appreciate that. We're going to like it. Colby the judge. That was fun. I loved being the judge. That was actually really, really fun. We did that on Reddit, so that's awesome. Fake cases with Rubby. Again, I explained Rubby yesterday, so don't make me explain it every time. Let's do that. Let's not explain Rubby every time. That's really, really messy. So you guys love the reaction. So I just need you to tell me, is there something you want to talk about? And I don't care if it's true crime. I don't care if it's one of the cases we've discussed in the shows. We still have one more show tomorrow before Wednesday. But again, if there's something that you guys would like to talk about, I think it would be really cool to do that. And I will hopefully find videos that don't take us out and things like that. Lindsay Clancy, I'd have to do some research on that. I don't know if I know who that is. Definitely possible. But again, I like to do my own personal research and read and understand what we're talking about. And I know some people were upset with the Brian Koberger stuff yesterday. Again, I'm not trying to claim that I'm some expert, but I did do research before. Does anyone have experience with online counseling? I tried in person, didn't seem to be helpful. As nice as they were, I know I need help with depression, grief, ADHD too. Okay, perfect. So yes, I actually do online. So all of my therapy is online. I want to say what therapy does, and let me go back to this other regular spot. So online therapy is really important because it gives you the ability and the flexibility to actually do the therapy. Like going in person it can be great, but if you don't have that option and you feel more comfortable at home, there's nothing wrong. You get the same out of what you put into it. So I actually do online therapy, and mine's through a company that is actually here in Arizona. So I can't really recommend them to you guys because they're not somebody that you could just online visit with. I think you have to be a resident here and it has to go through that way. But long story short, online is cool because, again, like I said, it might not be the same for some people. Some people like to go in person and have that time and go to someone's office and open up in that way. I actually used to feel that way myself when I first started therapy. I felt like I can't just sit there and talk to someone on the phone. I need to go to their office and change my environment and just be in a different place. But once I couldn't do that and my new therapist was an online only therapist, I decided that I was okay with it, and I'm just going to go figure out where I can go to deal with it. So the therapy doesn't change whether it's online. But I don't have a perfect recommendation. I obviously know of places like BetterHelp has become a really big thing, but you have to really, and I will say this, you do have to find the right therapist. It is important in your life to find someone you feel safe enough to open up with. Not everybody is the right person for you, but it's okay to try it out and don't give up. This is what I want to say about therapy. Don't just give up because you haven't found the right person, even if it's been a few people. I just want to keep encouraging you. You're trying to get better and you need to feel safe and be open to what you're hearing. And the more you show up, the more that your therapist can help you with. But again, just like every other profession, there's good and bad of everything. So I really pray. And I've heard some horrible stories about therapy, people getting hurt worse or more traumatized, or someone is a horrible person and abuses. There's people like Jody Hildebrand out there that are disguised as these helpful people, but just be really careful. I would say number one thing is be really careful with online guru people. coaches and things like that, because not everybody has really good intentions for you. So, like, just try your best to take everything with a grain of salt and just use your discernment. But it is sad that there are people who will go into that field who are very mentally ill themselves, or at least have some kind of evil in their heart to mess your life up. And so I just really want to encourage people to look through accredited places. And then, you guys know my story. I tried to do that life coaching, Christian life coaching thing with this lady, and it turned out to be basically a Christian cult. And I've explained that on the channel. There's a whole video I did about it because I wanted to just be raw and honest, because it's very, very real. And her whole thing at the time, I was so hurt. I hadn't done therapy yet. And I was like, I really want to heal. And I'm Christian. So I want to have a Christian counselor, and she wasn't even a counselor. She was a self-proclaimed life coach. I don't even think she had like a license or anything. And she started a whole business of these broken young people. And she just effed their lives up straight up. And she just was so disturbed herself. And it's really sad to see that that's something like could have easily made me say, and at the time I said, F this, I'll never do therapy with, and I'll never trust another person. I tried to open up to her, and she just was nuts. And that was on me, because I should have used my discernment, because there was moments where I was like, this is wrong. The stuff she's saying isn't adding up. But I was like, maybe you're not understanding because it's God and you don't understand all these things about God. It was a whole huge mental hurdle. So I've actually stepped into the wrong realm of that completely. And I want to share that with you, because I'm glad I didn't give up on being willing to open my heart up and have the right therapist. Because my therapist now, we've done so much work in the last few years. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Like, I really don't feel like the same person. I don't carry the burdens that I did. I don't carry the anger and the shame and the survivor's guilt and the hurt and the victim's mindset and, cursed life. Oh, my life is so cursed and I'll never get better. And it's just like, I dropped all of that. And it's like, I was that person. That is exactly why I talk about this on this channel all the time, because I was the opposite of what I am right now. Absolute opposite. So very important to share that I can tell you, you can change a lot as long as you're willing and open to do so. What's up, Emmy? Emmy got to go have fun yesterday. She was on our gaming stream yesterday, popped in at her concert just to say hi. So I really appreciated you doing that. I hope you had a really good time. But I know there's a lot of cases that you guys are interested in on. Again, we've talked about it. I don't mind covering stuff, but I like to do my research. You guys tell me things. I really appreciate that. Like even today, Tess put me on with that video that she put in the comments. If you guys want to watch it's real, it helped me connect a few more dots that I did not have. So that was really good. So thank you for that, Tess. But we can always talk about it. We can always talk about these different things that are going on. There's actually also, if you don't know, in our Discord, if you are a member, there is a tab also called Talking Cases. And that's another place for everybody to jump in and specifically. So I tried to separate it. I wanted one general place where anybody can talk about stuff. But then I tried to also give everybody like a mental health check-in and then also Talking Cases. So that way those threads stay very specific to those things. So that's what we have. And then also today, if you guys are interested, we're going to be doing another game stream in just a little bit, but I haven't told you how I feel about Spider-Man yet. So we're going to talk about that. And I really hope you guys can join me over on Pop Culture Poppy. It was a really good movie. And as far as the culture shift, like it really did change. I think it had a $967 million opening weekend. That's the highest ever. It's $1 billion in its opening weekend. That is unbelievable. So we're in a new age here. I did not know there was that many Spider-Man fans. I did not know that. So I don't know why you guys are hiding. If there's that many people who went and saw that movie and love Spider-Man, why haven't we had this conversation? Where are you guys at? What's going on? Okay, so we have 5 minutes. I'd love to take any of your questions. I will show the video right now. Let me pull that up as well. And I'll show you. I have it up as a live right now. I was going to create a video and just put out a pre-edited video, but I thought it'd be really nice to just talk about it live because I do feel bad. It took me a little bit longer to get to it this time. So I'm pulling up the live so you guys can see it. Oh, wow. It's really, really zoomed in. It's kind of not okay. Here we go. Whoa, that's so zoomed in. There it is. So we're going to be doing this at 4 p.m. 4 p.m. on the Pop Culture Poppy channel. And then I'm going to be doing a game stream after that. So it's going to be a lot of streaming for everybody. But I love giving people opportunities to talk about stuff that we want to discuss. But this movie was, I'm not going to even spoil it for you, but you got to watch it. If you watch this movie or you're interested in it, just go watch this today. It's at 4:00 over on the other channel. And we've been gaming and doing lives over there as well. It's been really fun. It's a nice, relaxed place. So I really like that. I really enjoy having just a very calm, like stress-free zone. Stress-free zone. Let's put it out there. But again, if you guys, whoa, where the frick did I go? Why can't this go away? This needs to go away. But yeah, I would love to answer any questions you have. I don't know if people don't know, but I've moved. So I don't have the studio set up, but once I move again into a different place with the studio set up, I will have probably the sign. I have the sign, I have all my stuff. I just didn't care to set it up. So I'd rather wait to have like everything the way I like it. I'm very particular. Before you guys know, I actually built the studio the way I wanted. I put up this black like wallpaper that actually really messed up the wall. So I'm not scared to ever do that again. It was not, I didn't paint. But I put like the stick wall. You guys actually watched me build it. And then I just kind of blacked everything out. I have all those other panels from the beginning. I don't know if you guys remember that, but when I first did the studio, I had these like black panels that I put on. So it just, again, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to lie. I'm lazy. I don't care. And I had to move from the couch back up to a chair because I'm just a chair guy. I just like being in the chair. I appreciate you saying that, Sandra. Yeah, and again, that's one of the reasons why I had to change our format, to be honest with you, because we were just going to specifically talk about crime from a victim's perspective, from a family member's perspective, and that kind of thing. And it just became so, it just got so heavy so fast. I just felt like I didn't have enough balance. So I hope you guys understand kind of where my head's at with it. It just became really hard for me personally to continue to specifically only talk about it because I needed some balance with our community. And I missed having fun. And it just felt like heavy all the time. I was like, my body can't handle this much stress. Like I was stressed out listening to Corey Rich and stuff because it hit home. Like listening to the planning and listening to her be so much like Lori. Yeah, it was just hard. It was hard. And I couldn't, when I heard from the kids and I saw that, and it just hurt. It hurt me. It hurt me too much. So I do think I did start to realize that we need something to give us variety. And that's what this show is. I really appreciate you guys being here. I would like one as well. Anybody bringing Kathy a burger can bring me a burger as well, please. I'll take a triple because I'm starving. I keep going for walks and little jogs in the heat, and it is brutal. It's like Dune out here. If you're in Arizona and you've seen the movie Dune, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's Dune out here. You got to shut the whole thing down just to survive. Yeah, it was. It changed my whole perspective of if I could even do this. I know that I'm strong, but I needed to figure that out. Yeah, we need to figure out the reaction. You guys can go and tell me what you want to watch. Tell me. I don't care. I don't care if we watch food. I don't care what it is, but let's figure out what the reactions are going to be. Every other Wednesday, you guys are going to tell me what you want and do a vote. And then I'd like you to also comment if you say something like reactions or something specific with other media. Tell me what you want to watch. And then that way there's really a vote for everybody. So if you're a member, I'll also ask that question for reactions. I'll put that in the Discord. You guys let me know what you want to watch. But I really, really appreciate you guys being here. I love this show. I love this community, and I love what we're doing. And I love that we can have conversations about pretty much anything. That was the goal. And going forward, we'll continue to obviously talk about mental health. And I pray and pray and pray that everybody here is taking care of themselves. So go get the help you need. You deserve it. You need it. It's okay. And I love you guys and appreciate you. Emily gets the last word here. Colbs, you know, I really want to bring you snacks while you're playing your Sky Rizzy. Why do you call it? I love that you call it the Sky Rizzy. That's so funny. Game and tell you not to strain your eyes. Well, I did wear sunglasses yesterday if you missed that. I wore sunglasses the whole stream kind of nice. Didn't strain my eyes. I randomly have glasses. So the girls had put those heart glasses on. If you saw me wearing those, I've got the blue lights that I wear most of the time. And then I yesterday wore sunglasses. So I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be okay. We'll be all right. Anyway, I appreciate you guys being here. I love you. Thank you. And I will see you on tomorrow's episode.